Today's Sunshine Note is titled, Pulling Your Hair Out. And when I heard this thing, I rent my garment and my mantle, and plucked off the hair of my head and of my beard, and sat down astonished. Ezra 9:3. Ezra, a prophet, was busily trying to rebuild the house of the Lord. His people were supposed to keep themselves out of trouble, and one of the main ways to do that was by not marrying into the surrounding cultures, for this inevitably led God's chosen people away from Him. So you can imagine Ezra's delight in the midst of his holy work to have some of the common people tell him that everyone, including prominent leaders, had hooked up with women of the lands around them. So delighted was he that he yanked out handfuls of his hair and beard, ripped off his clothes, and sat down in stupor. Ever had a day like that? A day nobody does what they're supposed to do? I remember planning a youth event that was to be hosted by a family in my church. The youth had all the information and were looking forward to the event, and everything was set up and ready to go. Then, less than a week beforehand, I got a call from the host family. Apparently, there was to be a parade that evening and they couldn't possibly host the event. Now, I must admit that my reaction was not to pull out my hair. My personality rather mirrors Nehemiah's, who pulled out other people's hair. I secretly wished the sky would rain on the parade, or better yet, some float carrying the pumpkin princess of their little town would lose all control and run over them. No, not to kill them, just bump them a little so they'd realize the error they had made. But God doesn't call us to wish harm on people who harm us. We are called to pray for our enemies. And once Ezra comes out of his shock at the stupidity of his co-workers, that is exactly what he does. He takes their sin upon himself as though he was one of the offenders, and asks God for forgiveness on their behalf. Today, if there is anyone who makes you want to rip out your hair, tear off your clothes, and sit in shock for the rest of the day, go ahead and express yourself. But just make sure that when you're finished, you pray for them. May God bless you today.